How do Arsenal get good again? Now, I obviously don't have all the answers. However, I do think there is a solution coming over the hill. And it is in the form of someone we signed in the summer finally getting the game time he can play from the big injury he got. And that is, of course, the man himself, Jurrien Timber. And here is why Jurrien Timber changes the game for Arsenal for the rest of the season. Now, it's fair to say Jurrien Timber is not back from injury yet, so let's not get too excited. He is now coming back to training, still training by himself out in our Dubai camp, but he's slowly getting around the team and slowly getting into full training. I expect him to get into full training probably by February, March time, and I expect him to probably be in the team by the end of March, maybe mid-March. But obviously that depends on a lot of things, but he has been progressing well and progressing a lot quicker than they thought he had, and that's obviously a very good sign. Now, him getting his injury is probably one of the worst things that happened to Arsenal this season. It probably is the worst thing. We spent all this money on our fullback situation to try and sort it out, and a player that had never really picked up many injuries before in his career suddenly tearing his ACL and being out for 5 to 6 months, probably even longer they thought at this time, is not very good. And obviously that's been a very big detriment for Arsenal this season, and it's caused a lot of issues that I don't think we realistically would have had. First and foremost, if you need a refresher on Timber or want to know what he brings to the team, he is definitely a good player. He's 5'10" and he's not the tallest of players, but however he is very right-footed and he's a very aggressive, brave defender. He wins many aerial duels and is very good at winning his tackle in that right back spot, while also having the ability to play left back and centre back as well, as he's played across the back line the whole time when he's been playing. He's also been very good at coming into the middle from that fullback spot, being able to tackle the ball and win the ball back there as well, especially in a double pivot for Ajax. This is obviously vital for us because then we can put him in that left back spot or even the right back spot and make him invert in the middle. This means that we can get that in solid defensive line with him and Rice in there, and you don't have to worry about the defensive work being a miss because he's very good at getting back in his position and he's very good at one-on-one defender. The biggest thing as well is that he is probably someone that is like Zinchenko and Tomiyasu put together. He can do the defensive work, a bit like Kivia as well, but he's not very good at 1v1 in left back, while he's very good with both feet and able to come into the middle and pass the ball around, having that total football style that we have known from Ajax for many years, being very good with the ball. And he is quite a physical player, so he's not afraid to get forward and make some good through balls for the wing backs and full backs that also could play there, and he's very good at getting everyone in the game. This is very good. That would be something very vital to someone like Martinelli, where he can get in behind because they're worried about Timber's on the ball skills and the fact he can physically win the ball back. They wouldn't look to target him like they do with Zinchenko in a 1v1 situation, usually cutting in from him. I think straight away you'll see that he's probably our best defensive fullback. He's probably better defending in a 1v1 and more physical than any of the other players, even people like Ben White, who have been good at times but has been struggling recently. He can also provide cover in that centre back spot, as he can play on the left or right side of the defence, and because he's so good with the ball, he's very good at ball playing centre backs. We can push forward and make runs to help overload the midfield and give us more pressure. I also think his ability to play on right back and left back will mean that our fullback situation won't be as bad. People were going on that we need another fullback because of one injury from Cedric or whatever, especially with Tomiyasu going to the Asia Cup. That's definitely not good for us right now. But when Timber is actually fully fit, you don't expect all these players to pick up injuries at the same time, and when he's fully fit you have cover on both them sides where he could basically play anytime he wants, and we could play the system and play inverting baby Zinchenko on the other side or White on the other side, depending on how we want to play. Timber gives us a lot of freedom in them fullback situations and also gives us the ball a lot more. He's very good on it and he can do any job. We don't have to have him invert if you want to play him on that right back and put Zinchenko in left back, so he can still do the defensive work in right back. This means he can move into that centre back position to try and cover the other two when Zinchenko moves into the middle, and so it's someone that you wouldn't mind putting in that situation. There's a lot to like about his game, and there's a lot of similarities to John Stones last season, who was brilliant for Man City in that treble winning year. He went into midfield and would often stay with the ball and keep pressure with it, having the ball a lot, but Timber does very much the same, but he likes moving forward with it in the last minute to receive the ball and play forward before returning to the back line. He always tries to do a forward pass before going back, and against Manchester City in the Community Shield he's very much insane in that game. He's very good defensively and he's very good at covering the pitch and being able to get up the pitch to help Arsenal create attacks, which we did in that game, and getting back to defend when he needs to. And he hasn't played a lot in England. He played against Man City in the Community Shield and played half of the game against Nottingham Forest before coming injured and then not being able to play again. But I think with his aggressive defending in Ajax's 4-3-3 shape, he'll be very good in the team for Arsenal, as he was very good at duels and second for aerial contests around the club last season, and he regularly presses into midfield to win second balls. He was alongside Edison Alvarez, who's obviously done very well at West Ham as well, very physical player and sort of suits the league a lot, and I think this would be something that he'll take on with him. And just his versatility is the best thing for Arsenal. He could be an attacking fullback, he could invert as a fullback, but he can also be a solid defender and just stay in the back line. He can also cover for centre back if we need that situation, if someone like Saliba was to get injured, and his overall comfortability in possession is very important. I know Zinchenko does have that comfortability in midfield, but obviously he doesn't have that defensive work. I think Timber, because he's such a similar player to Tomiyasu and Zinchenko combined, it sort of means that we don't need to play both of them in a game. We could play Timber and then play someone else, such as White on that right back spot. I think if just Timber got injured, Arsenal probably could have been okay, and they were okay for large parts of this season. But now, because we've had people like Zinchenko out because of illness, obviously Tomiyasu was injured and now he's gone to the Asian Cup, it's left that we've had to basically play Kivior and White with a knock. This has led Arsenal into bad situations where Kivior can't invert, and it's caused a lot of issues, and then we've had to change the system so we don't get Kivior to invert, and he still is not a great 1v1 defender, and Ben White is not being able to do them overlap and runs because he's still picking up a knock and not getting the space to do it. At least with Timber, it creates a bit of uncertainty, so you don't know where Arsenal are going to go. They could play him on either side and they could work the ball that way, or invert him so they get more pressure in the midfield. This would obviously give space to more people like Odegaard and give him more chance to create chances, or someone like Vieira, who I spoke about before. And that's the main thing for Arsenal. They need to create uncertainty very much when they're attacking, but also when they're defending. I mean, the defense is overall quite okay, I'd say, but there still is obviously issues from certain scenarios. But overall, going forward, they need to create a bit of uncertainty like they did last year and be very quick on the ball. And they were very electric last year and scored a lot of goals, and one of the best teams going forward. Definitely do not want to put too much pressure on Timber because he is going to come back. He has had this big injury. It's one of the first injuries he's had in his career, let alone a massive one. So it might affect how he's a bit of aggressive a defender. Maybe he'd be a bit less aggressive. Maybe he won't be that great when he comes in. It's going to take a long time to come back into that injury, and maybe the rest of the season he might not improve, which is a big shame for Arsenal. But at the moment, there's no reason to think that. In his whole career, he's been really good, and I think in the summer he was Arsenal's best signing. I know Rice has been brilliant and been one of our best players, but I think if Timber was playing, you'd really understand how good he is. And I do think as well that if he is fit, that definitely causes us not need to buy a fullback in the summer. We can probably sell Cedric and get rid of maybe another one, and maybe buy a young one to project on, but I don't think we need to really seriously think about buying a new starting fullback if we've got Timber that can both cover left and right back spots. To me as well, you could probably get rid of Kivior and we could get some centre back replacements in. Someone like Diamonde from Sporting would be a great signing in my opinion. Obviously I don't know if he'd want to sit on the bench, and we might have to fit him in the team eventually, but I think that would be a better defensive signing than maybe buying another fullback. But I do think a left back maybe could be needed, and we'll have to see. Depends if Timber really wants to play on that left side, if that is a good role for him, or would rather just play on that right back spot, which obviously creates competition with Tomiyasu and White, even though Tomiyasu can also play on the left, but he's probably better on the right anyway. Overall, football can be a depressing place, so it's nice to look forward to these certain things. And I think when Timber comes back, it's actually going to feel like more than a new sign. It's going to feel like a revelation for Arsenal, because I think he can be really good and really improve this team straight away. It might be too late this season to have any real impact in the league, but they're still in the Champions League and there's still chances to do things, so maybe they could there. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about Timber's return, and do you think he'll have that impact that I think he will? And what do you think about Arsenal's fullback situation anyway? Do you think we might need to get someone else in? If you like this video, please watch my video yesterday where I spoke about Arsenal's midfield problems and talked about a player that we have in our team that can also sort them problems out and our creative issues. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys for watching.